The clatter of a cereal spoon against a glass bowl shattered the morning's quiet. A sound so sharp it felt like a crack in my skull. My daughter, Ellie, sat across the kitchen table, her small hands gripping the utensil as if it were a lifeline. Her eyes, wide and unblinking, locked onto mine with a weight no 8-year-old should carry. "Dad," she said, her voice a trembling thread. "Should I tell you where Mom slept last night?" The air turned to syrup, thick and suffocating, as my heart lurched. I glanced at my wife, Sarah, who froze mid-sip, her coffee mug hovering like a guillotine. The kitchen smelled of burnt toast, and the faint citrus of dish soap lingering from last night's dishes. Sunlight sliced through the blinds, casting jagged shadows across Sarah's face, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. I wanted to laugh, to dismiss Ellie's question as a child's misunderstanding, but the dread pooling in my gut told me otherwise. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" I managed, my voice a brittle imitation of calm. Ellie's gaze darted to her mother, then back to me, her fingers tightening around the spoon. "She wasn't in your room," she whispered, as if confessing a sin. Sarah set her mug down with a deliberate clink, her smile thin as a razor. "Ellie, honey, you must have had a bad dream," she said, her tone smooth but laced with something jagged, like glass hidden in silk. My pulse thrummed in my ears, each beat a question I didn't want to ask. I'd noticed things lately, small, nagging details I'd brushed off as exhaustion from work, from parenting, from life. Sarah's late nights at the office, her phone angled just out of view, the way her laughter felt rehearsed when I asked about her day. But this was a grenade lobbed into our suburban breakfast scene, and I was scrambling to pull the pin back in. "Ellie," I said, leaning forward, my hands clammy against the table's worn wood. "Where did you see Mom?" My throat tightened as I spoke, the words tasting like ash. Sarah's eyes flicked to mine, a storm of panic and defiance swirling in their hazel depths. Ellie hesitated, her small frame shrinking into the chair. "In the guest room," she said finally, her voice barely audible. "With Uncle Mark." The world tilted. Mark, my brother-in-law, Sarah's sister's husband, had been staying with us for a week while their house was renovated. His booming laugh, his easy charm, the way he lingered at our dinner table, they'd always felt like family, like safety. Now those memories twisted into something grotesque, a reel of betrayal playing behind my eyes. I saw Sarah's hand brushing his at last night's dinner, the way she'd laughed too loudly at his joke about bad contractors. I'd thought nothing of it. I'd thought nothing. "Ellie, that's enough," Sarah snapped, her voice cracking like thin ice. She stood, her chair scraping against the linoleum, and reached for Ellie's arm. "You're confused, baby. You didn't see anything." But Ellie yanked her arm away, her eyes brimming with tears. "I saw you," she cried, her voice piercing the room like a siren. "You were in bed with him. I went to find you because I had a nightmare, and you weren't with Dad." My chest burned, as if someone had poured molten lead into my ribs. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my body felt anchored to the chair, my mind racing to stitch together a reality that didn't end in ruin. Sarah's face crumpled, her composure unraveling like a cheap sweater. "Tom, it's not what you think," she said, turning to me, her hands raised as if warding off an attack. "She's a kid. She doesn't understand what she saw." "Then explain it," I said, my voice low, a growl I didn't recognize. The kitchen felt smaller now, the walls closing in, the air heavy with the scent of coffee and lies. Sarah's mouth opened, then closed, her eyes darting to the hallway where Mark's suitcase sat by the door, ready for his departure today. Had it been planned? Had they been waiting for him to leave, to sweep this under the rug? I couldn't sleep, Sarah stammered, her fingers twisting the hem of her sweater. I went to the guest room to read, and Mark was already there, working on his laptop. We talked, that's all. Ellie must have seen us and misunderstood. Her words were a flimsy scaffold, collapsing under the weight of her trembling voice. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the image of them together, tangled in the guest room sheets, seared itself into my mind, vivid and cruel. Talked. I repeated, my voice rising despite myself. At 2 a.m? In bed. Ellie was crying now, her small sobs a counterpoint to the storm brewing in my chest. I reached for her, pulling her into my lap, her warmth grounding me even as my world fractured. It's okay, sweetheart, I murmured, though nothing was okay. Nothing would ever be okay again. Sarah sank back into her chair, her face pale, her hands shaking. Tom, please, she whispered. I swear it wasn't, we didn't. But her words faltered, and in that silence, I heard the truth she couldn't say. The late nights, the secret of texts, the way she'd pulled away from my touch over the past months. It all clicked into place, a puzzle I'd been too blind to solve. I stood, Ellie clinging to me, and walked to the hallway. Mark's suitcase was still there, a silent witness to the wreckage. I wanted to rip it open, to find proof, a note, a photo, anything to confirm or deny the nightmare unfolding in my head. But I didn't need to. The truth was in Sarah's eyes, in the way she couldn't meet mine, in the way Ellie's small body trembled against me. Tom, Sarah called after me, her voice breaking. I love you. You have to believe me. But love felt like a hollow word now, a ghost of the life we'd built over 12 years. I thought of our wedding, the way she'd smiled at me under the summer stars, the promises we'd made. I thought of Ellie, born 2 years later, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. I thought of Mark, laughing at our table, betraying me in my own home. I turned to face Sarah, Ellie still in my arms. Did you? I asked, my voice steady despite the chaos inside me. Did you sleep with him? The question hung in the air, a blade poised to sever whatever was left of us. Sarah's lips trembled, her eyes glistening with tears, but she didn't answer. She didn't need to. The front door opened, and Mark stepped inside, his face flushed from the morning chill. He stopped short, sensing the tension, his eyes flicking between me and Sarah. What's going on? He asked, his voice too casual, too practiced. I set Ellie down, my hands shaking with rage, with grief, with the unbearable weight of knowing. Ellie, I said softly, kneeling to meet her eyes. Go to your room, okay? I need to talk to Mommy and Uncle Mark. She nodded, her face streaked with tears, and ran upstairs. I straightened, my gaze locking onto Mark. Tell me, I said, my voice a low, dangerous rumble. Tell me what happened last night. Mark's smile faltered, his hands rising as if to placate me. Tom, it's not, he began, but I cut him off, stepping closer, my fists clenched. Don't lie to me, I said, each word a bullet. Sarah sobbed behind me, her cries a distant echo in the haze of my anger. And then Mark's face changed, guilt, defiance, regret flashing across it like a storm. It was a mistake, he said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. It just happened. The world didn't end. It didn't need to. The life I'd known was already gone, shattered by a child's question at breakfast, by a truth I couldn't unhear. I looked at Sarah, her face buried in her hands, and felt the love I'd carried for her twist into something unrecognizable. Grief, yes, but also a flicker of resolve. I wouldn't let this destroy me. Not for Ellie's sake. Not for mine.